Very good morning to all of you. So friends, welcome back to Anthropology PYQ series. So friends, before we proceed towards our actual question of the day, so let me just remind you the basic aims and objectives of the program. So the basic aim of our program is to join every day at 11:30 a.m. and to learn and solve one PYQ one day. So that's the basic objective of this particular series. And if we proceed and if we try to understand about the basic objective of this particular series, so objective is to decode every question and to master every concept that is there behind the question. So that's the basic objective of the program. So friends, without wasting any more time, let us try to delve into our actual topic of the discussion. So today, let us try to discuss and let us try to decode about one more question that has been asked in the 2025 UPSC Civil Services Examination. Is that clear? So now, the question of the day is Osteodontokeratik culture and its makers. So that's the question of the day. So friends, what I have observed is that those students who have attempted or tried to attempt this question, they felt it very difficult, or they felt it that the question has been picked from somewhere. But friends, it's very a kind of question that has been picked from the primatology and archaeological section. So where we will try to understand more about this. So the question is Osteodontokeratik culture and its makers. So most of them in last year, those who have attempted, that means in 2025, those who have attempted, they have done a mistake. So they just try to pitch what is Osteodontokeratik culture, and they try to mention about the scholars who have discovered it. So that's not the question. The question was on Osteodontokeratik culture and its maker. So that means who practiced it. So that was the question. The question has been asked. So now let us try to understand the basic approach of the answer, how you can approach to this particular question. So if you look at the approach, how you can just answer. So in the introduction portion, what you can do is you can simply mention about the basic details about the discovery of Osteodontokeratik culture. So who discovered it, where it has been discovered, and when it has been discovered. So all these aspects you can mention in the introduction. And apart from that, you can also mention the meaning of the word Osteodontokeratik culture. Okay, so Osteodontokeratik culture, so you can mention the meaning of that particular word also. So that's one thing. Then, if you see in the body portion of the answer, you can proceed, and the first part of your answer should consist of, it should highlight the key features of Osteodontokeratik culture. So there are so many features that are there from the perspective of the Osteodontokeratik culture. So you should highlight them in a systematic fashion. Then in the second portion of your answer, so you have to provide an account on the makers of the Osteodontokeratik culture. So who are the makers? So when you try to basically understand the concept, so Australopithecus africanus. Australopithecus africanus were an early homins. So they were the people who just practiced this kind of culture. So you should write about Australopithecus africanus. That's one thing. So look at the question. So what it is saying, Osteodontokeratik culture and its maker. So this is the basic demand of the question. So that's one thing. Then if you see at the conclusion, in the conclusion, what you can do? In the conclusion, you can simply highlight or you can mention the current relevance and the significance of the Osteodontokeratik culture. So that's where you can conclude. So that's one thing that you have to see. Now, friends, let us proceed with each aspect and let's try to learn more about the Osteodontokeratik culture. So when you look at the introduction, what you can mention? In the introduction, you can just mention basic details about the discovery. So before to that, let us understand why this question has been asked in 2025. So this is very important aspect that you have to understand, because we also have to understand the trend and the pattern of the questions, how and why they have been asked in such a fashion. So if you happen to understand that in the year 1924, Raymond Dart. Raymond Dart had discovered a fossil evidence of Tawang child in 1924. Then in the year 1925, he has systematically presented an account on the Tawang child. So that has been published in 1925. So since its publication, now in 2025, it has completed 100 years. So in commemoration of 100 years of Tawang child, so there were so many celebrations that were happening in anthropological realm at international level. That was the context. That's where UPSC has picked this particular question. So Tawang child was an early hominin, so the same belongs to the Australopithecus africanus also. So that's where UPSC picked it, and it has given in the 2025 anthropology paper. So we should understand the context of the question. So that was the context where UPSC has picked it and UPSC has given it. So I hope it is clear to you. Now let's proceed towards the introduction, how you can introduce the answer. So in the introduction, you can mention like this: the term Osteodontokeratik culture has been coined, discovered, and it has been found by Raymond Dart. Raymond Dart was a famous paleoanthropologist, paleontologist from South Africa. You can see he is Raymond Dart. So Raymond Dart has coined the word in 1957. But literally, what is the meaning of the word Osteodontokeratik culture? Literally, that means it's a culture that is based on the bone, tooth, and horns. So what is this bone, tooth, and horn? So here, the word osteo refers to bone. The word odonto refers to tooth, and the keratic means horns. So Osteodontokeratik culture means the culture which has been used or which has been based on the bone, tooth, and horns. So that's the basic meaning of the word. So you should mention this first. Okay. Then, if you see, this is based on the findings from the Makapasangat site in South Africa. So Raymond Dart has conducted fossil excavations. So where in the Makapasangat site of South Africa, so he has systematically identified this particular thing. So where this particular culture has been assumed to be associated with Australopithecus africanus, an early hominin species. So that's where the context. So this is how you have to introduce the answer. Okay, so that's one thing. So hope you have understood the context of the question. As it completed 100 years, the question has been reflected in 2025. That's one thing. So here you can see Raymond Dart. So you have to mention about the Raymond Dart. You have to mention about the discovery, and you have to mention about when it has been coined. So this is the basic thing that you can mention in the introduction of the answer. I hope it is clear to you, right? So let's proceed further and let's look into the body portion of the answer. In the body portion, you can systematically highlight the features of Osteodontokeratik culture. Again, to say what is Osteodontokeratik culture, you have to break it into words. So osteo refers to bones, odonto refers to tooth, and keratic refers to horns. So this culture has been systematically used, bones, tooth, and horns, for its cultural activities. So that's it. So what Raymond Dart has suggested, so when we see from the perspective of this particular culture, the tool material that has been used are nothing but the bones, teeth, and horns. So they have used this material as the tools and weapons instead of the stones. So usually the primitive cultures have used stones as the tool. So we have understood stone tool technology was there. But this particular culture has used the bones, teeth, and horns as tools and weapons. That's the first feature. So then tool typology. What is the tool typology? So according to Dart, so Dart has hypothesized this particular concept. So according to Dart, Dart developed a typology where specific animal bones were intentionally modified and used for various functions. So Dart had identified and hypothesized that animal bones have been systematically modified and they have been used as tools here. So you can see the bones here. So these bones have been used as the tools and weapons. So what was that? So you can see here in the first row, you can see the horns and the ulna radius, ulna. So ulna bone and the horns. So both this horn, can you see this horn and can you see this horn? So this is ulna. So they have used it. So first thing, they used it as the knives. So knives to cut something, they have used this kind of bony tools. So that was one thing. Then in the second row, can you see the mandible, the lower jaw? So the lower jaw, has been used as knife and it has been used as a saw to cut something. So that's one another finding that has been portrayed. Then in the third row, you can see the upper jaw. So upper jaw has been used as the scraper. So to scrape something, they have used upper jaw. So they have used it as upper jaw. Then in the third row, we have this upper jaw. And here you can see scapula. Scapula means the shoulder bone. So shoulder bone has been used as a blade or axe, so to cut something. So this is how the Osteodontokeratik culture has been used, its tools. That means like Australopithecus africanus used these kind of bones as the tools. So that's one thing. So by observing this, Dart has developed a typology where he said that mandibles or teeth of the bones have been used as saws, scrapers or slashing tools. So that was one thing. And then long bones like humerus of the leg. So humerus, they have been employed as clubs or projectiles. So that was one thing. Then horns or antler cores. So horns or antler cores, they have been utilized as picks or jibbing tools or weapons. So that was one thing. And then this scapula or crania, so shoulder bones, such kind of things, they have been suggested as the blades or bowls or cups. So that's how Australopithecus africanus used bones systematically and horns systematically in their culture. That's what Raymond Dart has explained. So these are the pictures that you can see. Is that it clear for you? Now, what about the behavior? Based on the findings, Raymond Dart had tried to reconstruct the behavior and subsistence of the Australopithecus africanus. So what did he say? So these hominins were portrayed as predatory, cannibalistic meat eaters and specialized hunters. So according to Raymond Dart, Australopithecus africanus were the cannibalistic people, those who used to eat the flesh of the man. So cannibalism is nothing but the persons who eat the man, human beings, that's it. So they were meat eaters, they were cannibalistic peoples, and they were predatory people with good hunting skills. So that's what, and that's how Raymond Dart has constructed their culture and their cultural behavior. So I hope it is clear to you now. So now let us proceed towards the later portion of the answer. So what you have to keep here. So the question, you can see again here, the question that was being asked was Osteodontokeratik culture and its makers. So there are two portions in the question. So mostly students have misunderstood the question and they have mentioned only about the Osteodontokeratik culture only. The rest part they have left. So we have to systematically address that also. That is clear for you? Now, let's see. So in the second portion of the answer, so what you can mention is, you can systematically highlight about the Australopithecus africanus. So Australopithecus africanus, you can see here, so how the Australopithecus africanus looks. So now, let's try to know about basic details about Australopithecus africanus. So if you look about the basic details, Australopithecus africanus was an early human species. And this has been discovered by Raymond Dart in 1924 from Tawang Valley of South Africa. So this fossil that has been discovered by Raymond Dott in 1925 has came to known as Tawang child, because the fossil that was found was of a child's skull. So that's where that is known as Tawang child. So in 1924, this discovery has been happened. And in 1925, he has written an account. And in 2025, we have completed 100 years. So the question has been picked and asked. So that's how. Then again, look at here. So it is considered a likely descendant of Australopithecus afarensis and a possible ancestor of genus Homo. So we have Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Homo sapiens. So Homo habilis, it is been believed that the ancestor of the Homo habilis is Australopithecus africanus, and the Australopithecus africanus has been descended from Australopithecus afarensis. So that's the basic point that you have to remember and you have to mention. Then, if you look at the geological period of their presence, so it is believed and it has been reconstructed that it has been lived approximately 3.3 to 2.1 million years ago. So during Plio and early Pleistocene epoch. So this was another point that you have to mention. So 3.3 to 2.1 million years ago, this species existed. Plio-Pleistocene epoch, this was the geological period. Right? Then, if you look at the geographical distribution from the fossil evidences that we have got, we can able to say that these fossil remains were mainly discovered from Sterkfontein in Africa, Makapasangat in Africa, and Gladyswald in Africa. So these were the places where the Australopithecus africanus fossil remains have been discovered. So we can understand and we can believe that they have been geographically distributed in these areas of Africa. So that's another important point that you have to mention. So then, if you look at the physical features, so what were the physical features of the Australopithecus africanus? So simply you have to mention the basic physical features also. So there, look at here. So the cranial capacity, of the Australopithecus africanus was 430 to 520 cc. So which was slightly higher than the Australopithecus afarensis. So 430 to 520 cc. And the face was shorter with reduced canines. So you can see the face is shorter. And the canines, like earlier in Australopithecus afarensis, canines were projected. Now, canines have got reduced. That's one change. Then, next, bipedal posture with some aboriginal features like long arms and curved fingers. That's one thing. Now, you can see Australopithecus africanus. So, bipedal, that means he could able to walk on the two legs. That's one thing. And there were some aboriginal features. Aboriginal features means the features that helps a person to just cling on the trees and plants. So now you can see they had long arms, that was one thing. And can you see the fingers, how they were? So fingers were curved. So long arms with curved fingers, that was one of the morphological and physical feature of the Australopithecus afarensis. Okay, that's one thing. Then, if you look at other aspect, so the body was showing sexual dimorphism. So females and males had different demarcation with respect to height. So you can see the height of the male Australopithecus africanus. So where like 40 centimeters, 12 inches, like we had that kind of differentiation between the males and females. So that's one thing. So there was a kind of clear-cut body was showing a kind of sexual dimorphism. So this was another important feature. So these were all nothing but some of the important points that you should mention in your body portion of the answer. I hope it is clear to you now. Now, let us try to proceed and let's try to understand what you can mention in the conclusion part of the answer. So, in the concluding portion of the answer, so what you can do? So, there you can systematically mention about the significance and current relevance. So what's the basic significance? The hypothesis has suggested hunting and the use of organic tools were critical stage in the predatory transition from ape to man. When man was evolving from apes, during this predatory transition phase, so hunting and use of organic tools were critical. Organic tools means the tools which have been made from the living organisms. What are bones? Bones are from living organisms. What are teeth? From living organisms. And what are horns? They are from living organisms. So those tools which have been made by living organisms are known as organic tools. So this hypothesis suggested that this was mandatory in the phase of transformation. That was one thing, right? Then, what has happened? Is it relevant till now? Still, no, because this hypothesis has been later refuted and it has been rejected by another famous paleoanthropologist and paleontologist known as C.K. Brain. So you can look C.K. Brain here. So Charlie Kimberlin Brain. So Charlie Kimberlin Brain was another famous paleoanthropologist or paleontologist. So paleontologist, what is the main aim of paleontology? So paleontology is nothing but it's a systematic study of fossils and fossil evidences, right? So he was a paleontologist. That means his main area of study was studying fossils. So there he rejected and he refuted this theory. So although this theory has been refuted and rejected by the later paleontologists, this theory or this hypothesis has played very crucial role in shaping the early debates on the hominin behavior and the very cultural beginnings and the scientific interpretation of the fossil evidences. So this is how the discovery or the mentioning of the Osteodontokeratik culture has significantly contributed in the realm of anthropology as well as archaeology and paleontology. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind, and this is how you can conclude the answer. I hope that is clear to you. So friends, this is how you can mark the, you can write the answer. So where you can also get this answer from, if you want to download the answer, you can just join the Telegram channel. So what you have to do, simply you have to go to the Telegram and where you have to type the word anthropology guide. So then you can just expect, then you will get the group like this. So you can just join. So otherwise, like you can scan this or you can just join through this link also. So that's where you can have it. So before that, let me show you the basic model answer of this particular question. So the basic model answer of this particular question, it is, you can mention in systematic fashion. So this is how you can mention. So you can give one introduction. Then in the second portion, so you can mention the features of Osteodontokeratik culture here in point format. So systematically you have to mention the subheadings also. So that's very, very important, right? And then you can mention about the Australopithecus africanus. The second portion of the question seeks to answer about the makers of the Osteodontokeratik culture. Is that it clear? So you have to mention about the Australopithecus africanus also. That's one thing. So most of the aspirants have committed mistake here and you don't do it, and read the question very carefully. That's what I wanted to just revise you. Then you can conclude the answer with a paragraph where you can highlight and you can mention about the relevance and significance of the question. So that's how, so this is how you can conclude the answer, right? So you can download this answer and you can get this answer from the Telegram channel as I have said you. So that's it, and that's what you can have. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you today. So student is texting like, Pragna, very good morning, and she's asking a question. So can we say that Osteodontokeratik culture followed in Tawang region primates? Yes, it's one thing that it's a hypothesis that has been developed by Raymond Dart. But the later studies, as I have showed you, like C.K. Brown has refuted this theory and he has rejected existence of this particular theory. So try to understand that. So where like they have systematically said that so the concept of the Osteodontokeratik culture does not exist. So that was one thing. So this is a controversial culture which has been framed and developed by Raymond Dart. But as far as now concerned, we cannot exactly say that this culture has been prevalent in the Tawang region because it's a controversial hypothesis. So I hope that is clear to you. Right? So friends, that's all for today that I wanted to share with you. So if you have any further doubts, you can ask me now, or you can also ask me through the Telegram channel. So I expect you to write answers for all these questions and share answers for all these questions in Telegram, right? So that's where I hope like there are no more questions. So let's meet tomorrow. Let's meet in the next session. That's on Monday at 11:30 a.m. and with another important question. So till then, take care, revise all the questions and revise all the concepts that we have discussed. So thank you all of you for joining the live session. We'll meet again on Monday, 11:30 a.m. sharp. Thank you all.